Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2023 Canadian County Junior Livestock Show. This evening's event is our Gilt Show. Before we get started this evening, I would like to direct everybody's attention to the center of the arena. Please remove cover for the singing of our national anthem.
You're not. Do you mind if I?
It's the speakers. It's not coming through there.
I'm not getting a signal. My goodness.
We apologize, ladies and gentlemen. We're having some technical difficulties, but this evening's event tonight, we welcome Judge Ryan Seitz from Granite, Oklahoma. We'll be getting started here just momentarily with our Berkshire show. Just a few announcements for those exhibiting this evening. On the east side of the arena, you will see an end gate. On that end gate is our little makeup pin. As you bring your gilts in this evening, as you walk through those gates, that is for your gilt and the exhibitor only. So if you come in off the north side and off the south side, you'll come over off the east of the arena. Once you enter into that makeup pin, that is reserved just for our exhibitors this evening.
Is there an adapter up here?
Are you ready? Throughout the evening, we invite you to run into some of our social media members. They're out here interviewing you this evening to learn more about your experience here at this show and some advice that you'd like to give to others watching from home. We welcome everybody watching us from YouTube. Welcome you to our 2023 Canadian County Junior Livestock Show. I also like to invite you to stop one of our ambassadors this evening and throughout the entire week. They are selling raffle tickets for a 150-gallon water tank. It's not just any water tank, it is a light plastic tank, easy to move around your pastures and your homestead, and it is the color of bright orange. So all of you OSU fans, $5 a ticket, you can get five tickets for $20. Be sure to see one of our ambassador members this evening and throughout the entire week.
Stream. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And rugged red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the o'er the land of the free and the home of brave.
Thank you. And again this evening, our judge is Ryan Seitz from Granite, Oklahoma. We'll be getting ready for our first class at this time. We have 2 entries in our Berkshire division. Have those 2 entries be making your way into the entry gate at this time. Please be standing by our Chester White. We have 2 classes of Chester White, and we have 2 classes of Duroc. So Chester White and Duroc, please be standing by, making your way towards the entry gate. Right now, we're looking for 2 entries in our Berkshire Gilt division. Again, exhibitors, if you are coming in off the north side, please come in through the alleyway on the north side underneath the announcer stand. Make your way towards the entry gate on the far east. If you are pinned on the south side, make your way behind the gallery, behind the audience, and come in that way from the south to the east side of the arena. In the arena at this time is our first class of Berkshire, the first and only class of Berkshires, the 2 entries. If you have a Chester White or Duroc, please make your way into the sidelines, getting ready to enter the holding pen for your class.
Well, first of all, it's definitely a privilege to be here this evening and tomorrow to work with your young people and go through your hog show. A great way to start off the class. I'll be honest with you, it's kind of weird not having a microphone in your hand, but at the same time, so if I get to kind of flailing around my hands, you'll have to understand. But a great class of Berkshires here to start off with. Young man wins this class with a really, really nice Berkshire female. When you talk about one that's not only stout in terms of her bone, but great in terms of her design, you get up on top of that one, the way she comes out of the top side of her blade, lots of shape, lots of power, and yet still keeps it in a very good kind of a package when you talk about being fundamentally correct and sound on her feet and legs. Real muscular gilt that we have here in second. Love the overall shape and dimension in that one. Good kind of dimension as you get back behind her. In comparison, gets a little more pinched right there at her ham-loin junction. You get down at the ground. I don't think she's quite as stout in terms of her bone and foot, not quite as opened up in the center part of her rib. Still yet a nice pair of Berkshires here in our Berkshire division. If you would, give those kids a round of applause.
In your class of Berkshires, in first place, congratulations to Brogan Lancaster, representing El Reno FFA, also your champion. In second, in your reserve champion is Gabby Nafa, representing Union City FFA. We're now ready for our Chester White division, looking for 2 classes, 3 total entries, 1 entry in class number 1, 2 entries in class number 2. If you have a Duroc or a Hampshire, please be getting your animals ready off to the sidelines. Be waiting to go into the makeup area. We're now ready to show our first class of Chester White, looking for 1 exhibitor.
Just one Chester Gilt here in this class, and yet one that I think is awfully good in terms of having a lot of quality and a lot of good to her. One that's extremely stout and powerful when you get up on top of this one and watch her go away. Still yet combines that with great kind of balance from the side. Gets out here, and once she kind of gets comfortable and used to the dirt, handles her feet and legs exceptionally well. Nice single incher here. Let's congratulate him.
Congratulations to first place in Class 1, Even Hinkle, representing Yukon FFA. We're now ready for Class number 2, looking for 2 exhibitors in Class number 2 of Chester White.
Two Chester Gilts here in this next class, and I think both the Gilts and River Hogs that have got a lot of good to them in terms of having shape and power and dimension of muscle. And yet with that said, I think there's one that maybe balances up just a notch better from the side. We're going to start with the young man in the 4-8 shirt over there. Heavy bone, big-footed kind of a Gilt. A little more uniform in terms of the way she is from her blade to her hip from a design standpoint. A little more tall height at the point of her shoulder. Stout skulled, heavy bone Gilt that's still got lots of muscle and lots of shape. Ideally, love to just kind of trim just a little bit of that crest and neck off the top of her pole, yet at the same time that's being critical of a very, very nice Chester female. Tremendous muscle shape in this 1 and 2, lots of overall dimension in her. You know, from the side, if we could just elevate her just a notch at the point of her blade, just give her a little more uniform in terms of height to shoulder to hip ratio in terms of height, we could maybe make that pair a little bit closer. Love the shape, love the power in that one. Maybe you could square on her front foot just a little as well. Nice class of Chesters. Let's congratulate them.
In Class 2, first place, congratulations to Cole Johnson, representing Mustang 4-H. In second place, Aiden Johnson, representing Mustang 4-H. We're now bringing your winners in from the first and second class for champion and reserve.
We went ahead and brought all 3 of these Chester Gilts back out to pick our champion in reserve. And, you know, they're not having many numbers, and yet quality is awfully good within this Chester show. Both of these class winners are hogs that I think suit you extremely good. Through her front end, still handles herself exceptionally good in terms of her feet and legs. We're going to use the young man that wins Class 1 for your champion. Young man
In your Chester White division, and your champion is Even Hinkle, representing Yukon FFA. Reserve, Cole Johnson, Mustang 4-H. We're now ready to move on to our Duroc division. In Duroc, we have two classes looking for 3 total entries. Class 1 looking for 2 entries. Class 2, 1 entry. If you have a Hampshire, please be bringing them up to the makeup pen. Following Hampshire, we will have Hereford with 1 entry, Landrace with 1 entry, and then Spot with 3 entries. If you have a Hampshire, a Hereford, or a Landrace, please be making your way off to the sidelines. We're now showing the first class of Duroc, looking at 2 entries in that class.
Nice pair of these here in our youngest class of Duroc Gilts, and I think a pair that you have to appreciate a lot of things about. One that suits me just a notch better is the one over here to my left, in terms of one that you study her through the center part of her body, the openness to her rib, the softness she has to the depth of her body and flank is awfully good. Still combines that with being a heavy bone kind of a female that's got plenty of shape, plenty of muscle, like the stoutness that she has about her skull. Nice kind of a gilt here to win this class. Tremendous kind of back shape in the one that we have in 2. Probably is a little longer, if you will, in terms of her neck, in terms of her face as well. Like that about her. She's heavy bone, big footed kind of a gilt. You get into this one, I think she's just a little raw right through the center part of her body. Like to open her up in terms of the center part of her rib and give her just a little more barrel kind of a rib cage in there. Put a little more condition over her rib as well. Nice class here. Let's congratulate them.
First class in your Duroc division, first place, and congratulations to Adeline Wood, representing Yukon FFA. In second place, congratulations to Jackson Burns, representing Calumet FFA. We have one exhibitor in Class 2. One exhibitor in Class 2. Please be standing by for our champion in reserve.
Even though we've got both of our class winners out here, we'll talk the young ladies gilt out of Class 2 first. One that I think is just so good in terms of her balance from the side. Her length of stride on either end of her skeleton is awfully good. Combines that with the right kind of depth of body and flank. Very productive in her look. Maybe one you'd maybe raise her up on her foot just a little, and yet with that, she's still one that gets out and just takes a great kind of a step off of her front end, gets out and handles this deep sand exceptionally well. We bring her in that Class 1 back out here to pick our champion, and I think within the pair there's one that just balances up just a notch better for me. Love the just brood sow look that she has up through her front end, really soft in the middle part of her body, excellent in terms of her length of stride. We're going to use the young lady that wins Class 2 for your champion, the young lady that wins Class 1 for your reserve.
Congratulations to your winner of Class 2, Tegan Winter. Also, your champion in the Duroc division, your reserve champion comes out of Class 1, Adeline Wood, representing Yukon FFA. We're now ready to move through a few breeds pretty quick here. We have one entry in the Hampshire division. That should be entering the arena at this time. Following the Hampshire division, we have one entry in Hereford, one entry in Landrace, and we have 3 entries in the Spot division. Following Spot is Yorkshire. Yorkshire has 2 entries. Be standing by.
Just one purebred Hampshire gilt here in our show this evening, and yet one that can really stand a lot of competition because this is a very, very balanced gilt from the side, sound and functional on her feet and legs. Still combines that with good kind of muscle shape and muscle dimension as you get up on top and behind that one. Love the way this gilt ties out the top, your head and neck comes right out of the top of her blade. Very good and attractive up through her front end. Nice purebred Hampshire here. Let's congratulate this young lady.
In your Hampshire division, first place, and congratulations to Presley Steely, representing Calumet FFA. We're also your champion in that division. My apologies. Presley Steely from Calumet FFA. We're ready to move on to our Hereford division. We have one entry in the Hereford division. Following Hereford is Landrace, and then Spot, followed by Yorkshire.
Well, again, one Hereford gilt here to talk through this evening, and yet once again, one that can definitely stand a lot more competition because this is an awfully good kind of a Hereford female. When you talk about one that handles the ring exceptionally good in terms of her feet and legs, still combines that with great kind of shape right out of the backside of her blade, good kind of dimension as you go on down her top line and behind. Nice Hereford female. Let's congratulate him.
Congratulations to your Hereford champion, Landon Barton, representing Union City FFA. We're now ready to move on to Landrace with one entry in that division. Following Landrace, we will move on to Spot. Spot, we have 3 entries and 3 classes.
Just one Landrace gilt here, and yet again one that is very, very high quality, very good, very productive in her look as you get off to the side of her. Very balanced from the side, so sound and functional in terms of her feet and legs. And every once in a while, this breed can get pretty tangle-legged. There's no doubt, but this one is very good in terms of her length of stride on either end of her skeleton. Nice Landrace gilt here. Let's give her a round of applause.
Your champion in Landrace goes to Tegan Winter, representing Banner 4-H. We're now ready to move on to the Spot breed. We're looking for 3 exhibitors representing 3 different classes. We have 1 entry in Class 1, 1 entry in Class 2, 1 entry in Class 3. Following Spot, we'll move right into Yorkshire. Yorkshire, we have 2 entries in Yorkshire, and then we will move into our light cross.
Where's the girl right there that's helping Bandy now?
three individual class winners here in our spotted drive, and we'll kind of talk about each one of them individually, and then we'll name a champion in reserve. The young lady brings us class 1 here, very, very fresh made kind of a gilt when you talk about the center part of her body, so balanced from the side, extended up through her front end, gets out and handles the ring exceptionally good in terms of her length of stride on either end of her skeleton. You know, maybe if you wanted to get just a little bit nitpicky on that one, maybe you'd like to stouten her bone just a fraction, but that's being awfully picky on a very, very nice spotted female. Young man on the far side has our second class gilt. That's a really heavy bone, big-footed kind of an individual. Love the stoutness in terms of the stoutness to her jaw and her bone and her foot. Lots of muscle, lots of power in that one. You know, out here on this sand, maybe it takes a little bit of a stride. Maybe like she wants to overreach just a little off of her hind tooth, but that's being awfully picky of a very, very high-quality kind of a spotted female. Young man that wins class 3, another very long-bodied, really extended fronted kind of a gilt. Really good in terms of having some muscle shape and power to that one. Maybe not quite as opened up in the center part of her rib as what you'd term ideal, but still yet one that's got a tremendous amount of good to her and a lot of quality. So that's what I see within the class winners. We get them out here together and we get ready to pick a champion in reserve. I guess to me there's one that in terms of just the way they get out and go, in terms of their feet and legs, the way they track across the ring, so balanced from the side, like this one a great deal. The gilt that wins class 1 will be your champion. The gilt that wins class 2 will be your reserve. Oop.
Well, let's give a big round of applause for these three exhibitors, all winning their individual classes. Your champion goes out of Class 1, Hannah Hinkle, representing Yukon FFA. Your reserve champion comes out of Class 2, Brogan Lancaster, representing El Reno FFA. Once we reset the arena, we'll be ready for our Yorkshire. We're looking for 2 entries in Yorkshire showing in one class.
Come on, Parker.
Pair of Yorkshire gilts here to pick her champion in reserve, and to be honest with you, they couldn't be more polar opposites of one another, so I think it kind of depends on where you want to kind of land and where you want to put your priorities. Young man's gilt's going to be the one that we start the class with, in terms of one that's just big skilled, heavy boned, stout featured kind of a female. She's got a stout kind of a skull on her and yet combines that with good kind of shape and good kind of muscle dimension. To me, she tracks just a notch wider from her hock to the ground out here in the sand as she goes away. Really like just the stoutness of feature of that one, the size and scale of her. Extremely fresh, youthful looking gilt that we have out here for reserve. Love the depth of body and flank in that one. A gilt is still sound in terms of her length of stride on either end of her skeleton. Not quite as heavy duty in terms of her bone and foot. You watch her go away and she wants to close up just a little in terms of her hock. Maybe you could raise her just a fraction at the point of her blade as well. Nice pair of Yorkshires here. Let's congratulate them.
Congratulations to our Yorkshire in first place, Parker Mills, representing Yukon 4-H, also your champion. Your reserve champion in second place is Tegan Winter, representing Banner 4-H. We are now ready for our light cross. In our light cross, we have 3 entries showing in 3 separate classes. 3 entries in 3 separate classes. Following light cross, we'd be having your dark cross ready. We have 27 entries in your dark cross. Dark cross representing 7 different classes. If you have a dark cross, please be getting ready. We have 4 entries in our first class of dark cross, 3 entries in our second class. But right now, we're showing our 3 entries of light cross. Visible all week long. We want to give a special shout out tonight to 4 of our ambassadors, Emery Bowers, Aspen Burns, Brooklyn Beams, and Cheyenne Stuckey are all representing Canadian County Livestock Show this weekend. Tonight, if you need a new water tank for your animals, go see them. They'll get you a water tank for $5, or at least a chance at a water tank for $5. Selling raffle tickets all week long, $5 a ticket, 5 for $20. It's a 150-gallon tank, and this tank we're giving away is OSU Orange. Special thank you to our ambassadors helping out this evening. They'll be here all week long.
Yeah, he did. That's why I was like,
The arena is set. We're now showing our light cross.
Stacy gets so excited about this pig.
Well, much as we did our spotted show a while ago, we brought all 3 class winners out here to pick your champion and reserve eventually. We'll talk about each one of them individually. The young man that wins Class 1 with a solid white gilt, very, very good kind of a female. When you talk about squareness and shape and power, really extended up through her front end. You know, every once in a while maybe wants to twist out of her hip just a little bit, and yet that's being awfully critical of a very, very nice kind of a gilt. The young man's blue belted gilt that we have behind us here, another really sound, structured kind of a female, extended up through her front end. She may be one you'd just like to open up all the way through in terms of just drop a bigger barrel, kind of a rib cage in her, open her up through the center part of her body. You may be stouting her up just a fraction in terms of her bone and foot, but a nice gilt there to win her class as well. And the young lady's big blue gilt that wins Class 3, tall-shouldered, really extended kind of a female, good kind of shape and good kind of power in her. Another one that maybe you could change down at the ground, wants to get her front foot just a little softer than maybe what you'd term ideal. Maybe doesn't get out and just handle that hind leg in terms of reaching and going, kicking her hawk back behind her quite as good, but still yet one that's really good in terms of her balance, eye appeal from the side, still combines an awful lot of good. So as we talk each one of them individually, we get ready to pick our champion in reserve, the one that suits me best to be your champion light cross. That's the young man that wins Class 1. Young lady that wins Class 3, you'll have your reserve.
And your lacrosse, first place to each exhibitor in their own class. Congratulations to each exhibitor. Your champion comes out of Class 1, Even Hinkle, representing Yukon FFA. Your reserve champion comes out of Class 3, Riley Harland, representing Mustang 4-H. We're going to reset the arena here and be ready for our dart cross. In Class 1 of dart cross, we have 4 entries. 4 entries, please check in at the entry gate. There's 3 entries in Class 2, 4 entries in Class 3. 10 entries in Class 4, be getting ready. Right now, we are setting the pin for Class 1 with 4 exhibitors.
Kayla's showing.
Real good way to start our crossbred, our dark crossbred gilts here. A really nice class of 4 here. The young lady with the painted up gilt's going to win our class. To me, this is the one that just kind of puts the most things together. When you talk about one that's balanced from the side, still yet stout in terms of her skull and her bone and her foot, handles it extremely good in terms of her length of stride on either end of her skeleton. You get up on top of that one. I think she opens up more true and more square right behind her blade than the one that we're going to have in second. Leaves you with the same kind of advantage when you study her from her hip, hock to foot. As she goes away, just a lot squarer, a lot stouter there than the one we're going to have in 2. The one in 2 is going to be the young lady on the net with the narrow belted gilt here. Really good, attractive gilt from the side. Balanced, its height at the point of her shoulder is awfully good. Good kind of dimension in this one as you get down to the ground. She's not quite as stout in terms of her bone and foot. Doesn't come at you quite as wide as the gilt that wins the class. Doesn't leave you quite as wide from her hock to the ground as it goes away from you. The gilt that's going to be in 3 is going to be the young man here in the blue shirt. Really stout, muscular kind of gilt. When you talk about shape and power and dimension, you get into this one. She just gets a little drier, a little harsher through the middle part of her body. Like to soften her over her rib, drop some more flank in her, and yet still having that balanced look, that extended look up through her front end, what gets her over the gilt that we're going to have here in 4. Very productive gilt when you talk about depth of body and flank, and the one in 4 just gets a little more jammed up on either end of her skeleton. Like to extend her up through her front end, lengthen her up through her neck, just to give her more length of hip as well. Just kind of extend her all the way through. Nice class here. Let's congratulate them.
The results in your first class: in first place, and congratulations to Adeline Wood, representing Yukon FFA. In second place, congratulations to Kaylee Putnam, representing Mustang FFA. Third place, Rowdy Reimers, representing Yukon FFA. And in fourth place, Kaylee Putnam, representing Mustang FFA. We're now ready for our second class of dart cross. We're looking for 3 exhibitors in that class. Class number 3, we have 4 entries in class number 3. Please be getting ready.
fun class to work through here in our Class 2 of these dark cross gilts, and I think there's gilts out here that's got a tremendous amount of good to them, and yet the one you keep coming back to, I think the one that you guys can put the most things together, that's a young man here in the striped shirt. A very balanced gilt from the side, sound and mobile in terms of her movement. Her length of stride on either end of her skeleton is what gets her over the gilt that we're going to have in 2. Love this one when you get up on top of her and study not only the shape that she has, but the barrel rib cage that she has in the center part of her body. Awfully nice kind of a gilt here to win this class. The 1 and 2 is highly fitted, highly presented, heavy bone, big footed kind of a gilt. Love the design of this one. You get down at the ground and get to watching her go, just like the length of her stride on either end of her skeleton. It's just a little more upright in terms of her shoulder. Doesn't want to kick her hock out behind her as she goes off of her hind two, but a stout, muscular kind of a gilt. Love the bone and foot, the presentation of that one. Awfully, awfully good. Young lady's gilt we have here in 3. Long-bodied, really extended up through her front end. Like that about her exceptionally well. You get in the center part of this one's body, and she just gets a little flatter, a little drier through the center part of her rib. Doesn't have quite as much depth of body and flank. Just like to soften her all the way through in order to move her any higher, but still yet a balanced gilt from the side. Like the extension, still has plenty of muscle shape. Nice class of crosses here. Let's congratulate them.
Here results in class number 2, first place. Congratulations to Journey Miller, representing Miller 4-H. In second place, also Journey Miller with Miller 4-H. And third place in class number 2 is Nikki Parks, representing Union City FFA. We're now ready for our third class of dark cross. We're looking for 4 entries in our third class. Class number 4, please be getting ready. There are 10 entries in class number 4.
213.
Special thank you to tonight's sponsor of the Gilt Show. The grand champion buckle and banner sponsor is Ames Tool Company, an authorized Snap-on Tools dealer, Travis and Kelly Ames. Thank you for your sponsorship at this year's 2023 Canadian County Junior Livestock Show.
Everything.
Another good class of crossbred gilts here to work through, and I think we've got a pair that kind of moved themselves on up to the forefront. And within that pair, the young lady over here to my left now is going to win this class. One is so good in terms of her balance from the side, still yet combining that with stoutness of skull, stoutness of jaw, really good in terms of her bone and foot. Love the shape as you get up on top of this one. Every once in a while, maybe she wants to be just a little hesitant in terms of where she wants to put that hind leg, but within her and the one that we're going to have in second, she's just longer on either end of her skeleton. In terms of her neck, her front end, particularly her length of hip, is better than the one that we're going to have in 2. Young lady over here in the black sweater is going to be second, and you love the center body depth in this one. The flank in her, really fresh in terms of the shape and power as you get up on top of her. Maybe not quite as stout in terms of her bone and foot. Gets a little shorter out of her hip than maybe what you'd term ideal. She too's one that wants to change and go just a little more awkward off of her hind two, so I think that's kind of a little bit of a wash between that first pair of gilts. Still yet 2 very highly presented, highly fitted gilts. Nice pair of gilts up here on the top end. Not to take anything away from the young lady, it's going to be third here. A very, very stout, muscular gilt. Lots of shape, lots of power in this one. Of the top 4, I guess to me she doesn't open up quite as good as that pair that precede her in class. When you talk about her center rib, like to give her more dimension, particularly right behind her blade in comparison with those ones up ahead of her as well. Still yet a very good kind of a gilt, very practical kind of gilt to have down here in 3. The gilt that we have in 4, another one that you like in terms of just having stoutness all over. She's stout-skulled, heavy bone, big-footed kind of a gilt. She just simply gets a little shorter on either end of her skeleton, gets a little shorter, a little more jammed up in terms of her neck, like to lengthen her hip as well. Very nice class, very fun class to work through. Let's congratulate these exhibitors.
Your results for class number 3. In first place, congratulations to Presley Bennett, representing Yukon FFA. Second place, Hannah Hinkle, Yukon FFA. Third place, congratulations to Frankie Joe Bradshaw, representing Piedmont FFA. And in fourth place, Aiden Johnson, representing Mustang 4-H. We are now ready for class number 4, looking for 10 exhibitors in class 4. If you are in class 5, there's 2 entries in class 5, 3 entries in class 6, 1 entry in class 7. Be standing by off to the sidelines. Now showing class 4 with 10 entries.
And 3 of them are more.
Briefly, we introduced you to our ambassadors helping us this evening. The ambassadors are part of a new initiative from the Canadian County Fair Board. The purpose of the ambassadors is to be a part of the Canadian County Herdsmanship Advisory Board. This is an exemplary group of young leaders, young leader ambassadors. They work collectively and individually to increase awareness of the Canadian County Livestock Program. Advisory board members benefit as an appointed brand ambassador, agricultural advocate, and community spokesperson at the behest of the Canadian County Fair Board and its associates to promote the Canadian County Junior Livestock Show and the Canadian County Free Fair. Advisory board ambassadors participate through community outreach and involvement while upholding the positive image already possessed by young livestock owners across Canadian County. We appreciate these individuals for stepping up, and if you see them, stop by and say hi. Thank you to our ambassadors for putting together this show and for playing point person with our Herdsmanship Award, which will be awarded on Friday.
Good class of these dark crossbred gilts to work through, and I think you get these four up here in the top end, and you know, each one of them got maybe an area that they kind of excel the others in, and yet there kind of comes a pair that you want to move or gravitate towards to bring to the top end of the class, and within that pair, I think there's one that's just a notch stouter in terms of her overall makeup, in terms of her bone and foot size, still extremely good in terms of the way she is on her feet and legs. We're going to start the class with the young man's painted up gilt here. Really good kind of a gilt in terms of shape and power. Heavy bone, big-footed kind of a gilt. Love the design in this one, and the one you compare her to that we're going to have in second, she is definitely longer strided, more true in terms of her stride, particularly off of her hind leg. The one that's going to be in second is going to be a young man in the striped shirt. I actually like this gilt's height and elevation at the point of her shoulder, just a notch better than the gilt that wins the class, and yet when you get up on top of her, she doesn't open up quite as square, quite as bold right behind her blade as that gilt that wins the class. You study her in terms of the way she utilizes her hip. She kind of wants to overstride just a notch, maybe twist just a little more out of her hip than maybe what you'd term ideal. And yet, her mobility on either end of her skeleton is what gets her over the next pair that we have to fall in line. Within this pair, the young lady's gilt's going to be third here. Stout made kind of a gilt. Love the stoutness of skull, stoutness, a feature of this one. Square, shapely, really good in terms of muscle dimension. She wants to wear down just a little bit more in terms of her length of stride off of her hind tooth. Like to change her there, like to raise her up on her front foot. She gets a little more softer on her pastern, and it's also starting to hinder her just a little bit in terms of her length of stride. The gilt that comes in for another one that I think has got an awfully good to her. Good kind of blade and forearm and stoutness to her. Good kind of shape and power. Her feature is awfully good. The longer the drive wears on. This one just gets a little more timid off of her hip and out of her hind leg. Doesn't want to get out and go and really kick her hock out behind her the way you'd prefer. And yet that's saying a lot about a very, very high quality kind of a gilt. Very good class of these dark crosses. Let's congratulate them.
Class 5 is in the arena at this time. Class 6, we have 3 exhibitors. Class 6, we have 3 exhibitors. Please be standing by.
Number 2, Journey. Number 3, Presley.
Two gilts here in our next class, and 2 very, very high quality, good kind of gilts within the pair. The young lady's going to win the class here. Really good in terms of bone and foot. Love the extension that she has up through her front end. Big blade, big forearm, and that kind of a gilt. A lot of things that you can like about this gilt. Every once in a while, she wants to get maybe just a little rough right there at her hip-loin junction, or her jump muscle there, if you will. But that's being critical of a very, very nice kind of a gilt to win this class. The 1 and 2, I think I love the productive look that she has from the side. Her depth of body, her depth of flank, the condition that she has through the center part of her body, exceptionally good. You get to study in this one, and I guess maybe she wants to close up just a little more in terms of her chest, or particularly right there at her knee. You get to watching her go from the side. Maybe you doesn't want to get out and just take quite as lengthy of a stride off of her hind two as maybe what you'd like, yet that's being very critical, but awfully nice kind of a gilt. Very good class here in Class 6.
We'll take a step back here in Class 4, first place, and congratulations to Ian Morris from Yukon FFA. Second place, Journey Miller from Miller 4-H. Third place, Presley Bennett, Yukon FFA. Fourth place, Davis Morris, Yukon FFA. In fifth place, Aiden Gore with El Reno FFA. Sixth place, Haley Waveday, representing Yukon FFA. Seventh place, Grayson Morris, Yukon FFA. Eighth place,
I always wear orange, don't you know that?
Cash Pivaniska, representing Yukon 4-H. Ninth place, Kyla Bonds, representing Mustang FFA. 10th place, Cale Chambers, representing Mabel 4-H. In class number 5, first place, congratulations to Adeline Wood, Yukon FFA, and second place, Mason Morris, Miller 4-H. We're now showing 3 exhibitors in class number 6. Following this class, we'll have 1 exhibitor in class 7.
She's a
We get out here in this class, and I think you've got one that's just kind of a clear-cut winner within this drive. The young lady's a tricolored gilt over here to my left. Very, very balanced gilt from the side. Good in terms of her profile. Like the stoutness she has up to her skull. Handles her feet and legs exceptionally well. You know, ideally, maybe you'd like to bolden her up just a little right in the center part of her rib, but an awfully good pattern kind of a gilt. Sound, functional. Still got great kind of shape and muscularity as you get up on top of her. In second, it's going to be the other tricolored gilt that we have over here. Long body, really extended fronted kind of a gilt, just a notch more muscle shape, a little notch more dimension in the upper part of her top line than the belted gilt that we're going to have in 3. This one in 3 is sound structured in terms of her length of stride, right the softness to the middle part of her body, just gets a little shorter, a little more jammed up in terms of her head and neck, like to extend her up through her front end. Maybe you could stouten her just a little in terms of her bone and foot. Nice class here. Let's congratulate those exhibitors.
Class number 6, first place, congratulations to Hannah Hinkle, representing Yukon FFA. In second place, Reagan Clark, Piedmont FFA. And third place, Miranda McDonald, representing Mustang FFA. We're now ready for 1 exhibitor in class number 7. Following this class, we will show for Grand Reserve.
That's what I said.
Just one gilt here in this heaviest class, if you will, and yet one that brings a lot of things to the table in terms of one that's not only balanced from the side, shapely in terms of when you get up on top of her, and one that can just flat freewheel in terms of the way she gets out and goes in terms of her length of stride. Nice kind of a gilt. We'll get her out here with these other class winners. Let's congratulate him.
Strike as well.
First place out of Class 7 is Gavin Stryka, representing Yukon FFA. We're now getting the arena set for our champion and reserve.
It's been a lot of fun working through these dark crossbred gilts. If you would, give each one of these kids out here with a class winner a big round of applause. Lots of quality, lots of depth all the way through. I don't care if you're talking about with Class 1, but all the way up through Class 7. These are gilts that have got a tremendous amount of good to them. I know there's a show just not too far from here in a few weeks, and I think they'll have an awfully good kind of a day up there as well. You get in here and you get to trying to find the ones that I call my kind, in terms of ones that are balanced and sound and functional. They're hogs that can get out and go, and I think there may be just a pair of them that sort themselves just a little more to the top. You get into those pair of gilts, and I'll be dead but honest with you, both of them I could just open just a little in terms of their chest, and that's being nitpicky. When you get past that, you got to go back to your priorities, go back to the one that gets out, handles the ring, flexes, goes, and can get it in terms of her feet and legs. That's the one that wins Class 7. She'll be your champion. That was a single entry that we had in that class, and there's another one that pushed that champion exceptionally hard. Love so many things about this one in terms of balance from the side, shape, muscularity, awfully good. You get to study in this one, and she wants to tire just a little in terms of her length of stride off of her hind two. Tremendous kind of a female. Young man in that purple shirt will have your reserve.
Go to about 12.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. In a very good kind of a crossbred show, we're going to talk number 3, I guess you will, and then we'll kind of set the mic down and go through it. I think they want to line up 15. There is an intriguing critter out here in a lot of different ways that I think not only is she an awfully good show gilt, but she'd be one to kind of be fun to have out in the sow lot, try to see what you can do with. Our third individual in this crossbred gilt, young man with this narrow belted one here in the middle.
Nikki Parks from Class 2. And then where's Presley? Right here.
Nikki Parks from Class 2. Nikki Parks from Class 2. Yeah, as a reminder, as we go through this prelim sale order, if you were third, fourth, and fifth in your class, third, fourth, and fifth in your class, please keep your ears open and attention towards the main arena. We could be calling for you at any time. Haley Waveday from Class 4. Please make your way to the show ring. Haley Waveday from Class 4.
Anna Hinkle was 5. Three.
Addie Wood was 6.
Out of class 5.
Mason was 7.
Out of class 5. Davis was 8. Out of class 4.
Mason was 7. Davis was 8. Yes.
Are we still looking for Haley?
She's coming right there.
Okay. Grayson Morris, Class 4. Make your way to the entry ring. Grayson Morris out of Class 4. Cash Pivaniska from Class 4. Cash Pivaniska, please make your way to the main arena.
Now we get start over.
We're going to take about a 10-minute break between the prelim lineup and our sale order lineup and overall grand champion. We're going to take about a 10-minute break to reset the arena, and we'll be back for our grand and reserve overall and final sale order. We are now working a 10-minute break as we finalize our prelim sale order and prepare ourselves for the Grand and Reserve Drive. Once again, we'd like to thank Ames Tool Company for sponsoring tonight's Grand and Reserve and Bronze Banner and Champion Award. Ames Tool Company is an authorized Snap-on tools dealer owned by Travis and Kelly Ames. Thank you for your sponsorship tonight. All week long, our exhibitors are going to be participating and competing in a herdsmanship competition, newly reformed and designed by our ambassador team for the swine division. The competition being held tonight and tomorrow collectively is sponsored by Winter Livestock. Winter Livestock is owned and operated by Tanner and Sam Winter and their 4 children, Tegan, Tabor, Tyson, and Tandy. At the time, the Winter family weren't sure what it would ultimately become, but knew this was something they were both passionate about. Both of the Winters knew that life and family built around quality hogs and wanted to give it a go. They now run 100 show pig sows of 8 breeds, a boar stud, and distribute show feed across the state of Oklahoma. We thank the Winter family for sponsoring the Swine Herdsmanship Award this year.
We need all the champion reserves to come down. Yeah. Are you ready?
All of your champion and reserve champions, please start making your way to the sidelines on the north and south side, depending on where you're pinned. Start getting ready for the grand drive. All of our champion and reserve champions of all of our breeds, please be making your way to the makeup area at this time. We still have a few more minutes, but don't delay. Make your way right now towards the main show arena with your champions and reserve champions. And just so you know, we weren't lying. If you look underneath the announcer stand, there's a bright orange water tank. That water tank is up for raffle all week long, $5 a ticket. $20 for 5 tickets. Go see orange water tank.
To cherish. It's the judge. Cherish it. It's the judge's.
No, it's some.
Is his on maybe?
We're almost set. Just give us a couple more minutes. We do want to make our announcement for our Dark Cross. Our champion was Gavin Stryka from Yukon FFA. Your reserve was Ian Morris. Please be having your champion and reserves in the makeup arena, in the makeup pen. Be checking in at this time for all classes. All class champion and reserves, make your way to the makeup pen at this time. FFA. As your name is called, you come back in for sale lineup. Do not forget your blue card when you come into the arena. Please have your blue card handy for when you come into the arena.
Well, before we get out here and select your champion and line up down through the cell order, if you would, give these kids out here a round of applause with the champion here this evening. Very, very nice set of gilts. I don't care if you're talking about purebreds, crossbreds, all the way through. These things are going to have another day ahead of them. I say that's going to be awfully, awfully good because you can take each one of them and you can talk about the positive attributes that they have. I think just a tremendous set of females that we have out here. I'm not real big on speeches, and yeah, I'm going to be back tomorrow. We're going to judge some bears tomorrow, so we're not going to talk a whole lot. Again, it's definitely been a privilege to be here this evening to line up through your Gilt Show. Tremendous set of champions. We bring them back out here. They're my kind of hogs. They're hogs that are balanced. They're hogs that are shapely. They're hogs that can get out and go on their feet and legs within the group. I think there's a couple of them that maybe kind of move themselves on up to the forefront, and yet with that said, there's one that, again, I go back and say, this one just can get out and fly and can get out and go. That Dark Cross is your champion. Yeah.
Your champion is Gavin Stryka, Yukon FFA.
We bring that reserve Dark Cross in as we talked to her back in class, and even after we've named her for reserve, another one that's got so many unique pieces, balanced from the side, shapely, awfully, awfully good kind of an individual. We're not splitting them. That's going to be your reserve grant.
Your reserve champion is Ian Morris, Yukon FFA.
I think they said we're going to put 7 in the sale and then line up a bunch of alternates. To me, as you get back out here, it's just going to get tougher and closer, but another one that's just flat dab a unique critter in terms of the way they're made, stoutness, bone, foot size, flexible, awfully unique kind of an individual. That Berkshire is going to be your third.
Brogan Lancaster, El Reno FFA. Gabby Nafa, Union City FFA. Please come into the arena.
Fourth in the lineup, another one that I think has just got a tremendous amount of potential for later on down the road. It's hard to make them this kind of stout in terms of shape and power, and yet opened up to the center part of their body exceptionally good. That young man's light crossbred is going to be your next in line.
Evan Hinkle.
Fourth in the lineup, Evan Hinkle, Yukon.
Riley Harlan, she's in.
Next in line, another one that I think has got a tremendous amount of potential, probably even more so when you take to this one and you put her out in the sow lot in terms of one that's so good in terms of her balance, eye appeal, flexible, awfully good kind of an individual. That Duroc Gilt will be your next in line.
Fifth in the lineup, Tegan Winter, Banner 4H.
Another gilt that I think so many good things about in terms of one that's maybe just one of the more unique ones in terms of the way they are made in the center part of their rib, the openness to the middle part of their body, unique kind of an individual. That third dark cross will be your next in line.
Sixth in the lineup, Journey Miller, 4H.
Presley Bennett's in the ring.
One that come through one of the smaller breeds, if you will, and yet one that I think is not only an awfully good kind of individual, but probably got an even better kind of a road for later on down the road within this, within her respective breed. Unique individual. That young lady's spot gilt will be your next.
Seventh in the lineup, Hannah Hinkle, Yukon FFA.
Brogan Winecaster. No, he's on the strap.
Chambliss, Cale Chambliss, please make your way to the arena.
No, just walk her nice and slow. Just let her stand. Hey, you can walk her straight out if you want.
Cole Johnson, please make your way to the arena. Cole Johnson. Number 8 is Presley Bennett.
Okay, my dad said the belt buckles were pimpalicious.
Ninth in the order is Parker Mills, Yukon 4H. Tenth is Adeline Wood, Yukon FFA. Mason Morris, Miller 4H is draw 11. Davis Morris. Davis Morris from Yukon FFA is 12. Number 13, Riley Harlan, Mustang 4H. Presley Steele is 14, number 14.
Keep going, bud. Get her going, bud. Get her going. Haley Joe Putnam was 15. Haley was 15. I had 15. She was 15.
Kaylee Putnam is 15, draw 15.
You need a break.
Do you need a break? I'd say call your
We're now ready for our junior showmanship. Your junior showmanship will be youth in ages 3rd grade through 6th grade. If you're ready to show your junior showmanship for the Gilt Show, please bring your gilts to the entry gate at this time. Junior showmanship 3rd grade through 6th grade. Intermediate division will be 7th grade through 9th grade, and senior division will be 10th through 12th grade.
Exactly the same will be per
Junior showmen, please be making your way to the entry gate. Junior showmen, we'll be getting started with junior showmanship. We'll give you about 5 minutes to get situated. 3rd grade through 6th grade junior showmanship. Be ready to start in 5 minutes. Once again, thank you to Ames Tool Company and authorized Snap-on Tools dealer Travis and Kelly Ames for sponsoring this evening's Gilt Show. For those of you in the stands and watching at home on our live stream through YouTube, we will start back again at noon with our Barrow Show. Barrows weigh in at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Our show starts at noon. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're now ready for showmanship. The judge is back in the arena. We're looking for our junior exhibitors. Junior exhibitors are grades 3 through 6. If you are in 3rd grade through 6th grade and would like to show in the Gilt Showmanship, please enter the arena at this time. This is final call for junior showmanship. If you're a junior, raise your hand, let us know you're coming in. Junior showmanship, this is your final call. Intermediate showmanship, you're on deck. Intermediate showmanship. If you are in 7th through 9th grade, intermediate showmanship, please make your way to the entry gate. Intermediate showmanship.
Not having?
Intermediate showman, this is your final gate call. Intermediate showman, please raise your hand. Let us know you're coming. Intermediate showmanship.
There's intermediate. We had no juniors.
We do have entries in our intermediate showmanship. 7th through 9th grade, those exhibitors are headed towards the entry gate at this time. Intermediate showmen are headed into the arena at this time. If you intend to show in senior showmanship, please make your way to the sidelines. We will call for you momentarily. Intermediate showman, you may enter the arena at the direction of your gate man.
Well, I mean, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now showing intermediate showmanship. If you are a senior division exhibitor in 10th through 12th grade, please be making your way to the sidelines. We'll call for you momentarily. Now showing intermediate division showmanship.
Very good group of young people here in this division, and you know, sometimes picking showmanship can be harder than actually just judging a pig show, because each one of these kids are out here working extremely hard and doing an awfully good kind of a job. With that said, I guess to me there's one out here that just kind of sets herself apart, always seems to find the correct angle, the correct area, keeps that hog in a very even tempo, if you will, in terms of speed and the way they get out there. Seems to, like I said, always find that open area, that open hole. Very, very good showman. Your champion in this division, young man here in the purple shirt.
Your champion intermediate is Ian Morris, Yukon FFA. Congratulations to all of our intermediate exhibitors. Once we clear and reset the arena, we'll be ready for our senior division showmanship. That's our youth 10th through 12th grade. At the direction of your gate help and judge, you may enter the arena at this time. We're now showing our senior division 10th through 12th grade showmanship. Our champion exhibitors in the intermediate and senior divisions and showing and showmanship this evening are invited back. Champions only are invited back tomorrow for the barrow showmanship. The overall showmanship winner in each division in the barrow division will be invited to OYE. Only the champions this evening are invited back to compete tomorrow during the barrow show. The winner of the Barrow Championship tomorrow will be invited to the Oklahoma Youth Expo.
Very good set of senior showmen, and these young ladies come out here and do an awfully good job as far as finding the right kind of tempo and kind of keeping an even pace, if you will. You know, there's one thing whenever you ask them to drive to you, I want you to not only square up, but do it with some intensity in your face. And I tell my son back at home, when you drive at somebody, act like you're making a point. To me, that was kind of what separated them just a little bit. Your champion in this division, dynamic kind of a showman, young lady with this chromed up gilt will be your champion.
Your champion showmanship winner is Adeline Wood, representing Yukon FFA. Again, the champion senior and intermediate announced this evening will be invited back tomorrow for the barrow showmanship classes. The champion in the barrow showmanship in each division will be invited to the Oklahoma Youth Expo. Those exhibitors winning tonight are invited to compete again tomorrow. that does conclude today's show and the Gilt Show. Again, thank you to Ames Tool Company for sponsoring this evening's event. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. to weigh in, and our show starts at noon with the Barrow Show. Ladies and gentlemen in the stands, if I could have your attention, before you go home this evening, please pick up and remove all your chairs and toys. Immediately following this evening, once everybody leaves the main arena, we will reset the entire arena. That includes tractor work, dirt work, and watering down the arena. So please remove your chairs, toys, and anything else you do not want to get wet. We'll reset the arena to be fresh and clean for tomorrow's Barrow Show. Wish you all a great evening. Safe travels going home. We will see you tomorrow morning, and our show begins